Yeah. Who's in charge of the time?
Me. Don't worry, Arfa. You can relax in my capable hands.
I'm sure I am.
Arfa's experienced me facilitating, so yeah. Time can be flexible. Over to you.
So welcome everybody, and in particular welcome our frequent flyer guest Arfa Khan today, who is beaming in or zooming in from Gippsland. So that's kind of on my side. I'm at Sandhurst, which is a little burb in the southeast nook of Melbourne in lockdown for, well, I suppose we're just about finishing our first week. And so I've been pretty busy in my home office. I've got the door locked with a big Zoom in session sign, because if I don't do that, the household thinks they've got every right to pop in and ask where things are when they're, you know, in front of them in any cupboard that they open. So I run a practice of leadership development, coaching and mentoring, lots on Zoom and workshops as well. How about you, Cynthia?
Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to see a few new names with us today. So welcome to you. We've built a lovely little community over the last 16 weeks, and we're up to episode 17. And I'm a leadership facilitator coach, really passionate about well-being and working with women, and very interested too in how people can perform, people and teams and leaders can perform at their best. And I really believe that well-being is a fundamental pillar of how we can perform at our best. So that's why I'm loving being part of these sessions today and over the past 17 weeks.
So we got together, Cynthia, didn't we, with our background in working together, as you mentioned before. We met at Leadership Victoria, and we've been running workshops and online programs in this wellbeing space. So here we are today for episode 17. And as I mentioned, Arfa has been a frequent flyer, and that's those people, men and women, who come in regularly and sit in on the conversation. And Cynthia, just before we crack into the interview, just the dashboard, if you just want to remind everyone.
So I'm sure everyone's getting very familiar with Zoom, but if you go to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little dashboard pop up, and really importantly in that chat box, if you select that, make sure you've selected all panelists and attendees. So we love our system to be interactive. Louise will have some questions to ask Arfa to start the conversation, but we would love it. You can ask your questions in the chat box. If though you just want to ask a private question to Arfa, Louise and I, you can do that via selecting the Q&A box as well. So we've got Den dialing in from Churchill, Gippsland. We've got Kahija from Pakenham, Marg from North Melbourne, Diana from Geelong, Marianne from Gippsland, Linley from Bond Beach, and Belinda from somewhere in Melbourne. I've forgotten where you're from, and Belinda, sorry. And we've got Louise from Emu Creek near Bendigo.
So are we all in Victoria, Cynthia, by the looks of it?
I think we are, which might reflect the fact that we Victorians are going through we are bonding together by being the pariahs of Australia right now. And potentially our well-being is a bit more challenged right now. And that's definitely the feedback we've been getting from our clients and networks, that this second wave of corona has, you know, it has really impacted on people's well-being and potentially their mental health. So maybe that's why we're all Victorians today. We're all
Yeah.
We'll fly our flag. Okay, so I suppose that's then what we need is wisdom, isn't it, to keep going, to keep the resilience high. So Arfa, welcome, and thanks again for saying yes to joining in the conversation. And for those that may not have read your background, in the first couple of lines it mentions that your origin is from Pakistan. And I was curious, what wisdom in your culture have you carried with you that whole area of well-being?
I think thank you for having me, first of all, Cynthia and Louise. It's been a really a journey for you for asking questions to people and learning. And probably the same, being a part of the sessions have been really good and insightful for me too. Anyway, having said that, yes, cultures does bring a lot of wisdom. All the cultures have different things that they bring. I think one of the learnings that I have is that connectedness is the one thing that I really believe in. And I've been carrying that thing with me, because once you move to a new land and new place, you're totally isolated. You don't know anyone. You're there to make new connections, basically. And so if you just keep in your isolation or your silo, you're not going to get anywhere. So I think that was the one thing that I was really, that reach out to people, talk to people, make new friends. And that's how, it's going to carry on. That friendship circle, the any engagement circle that you want to bring, that's all start from the connection.
So, and more, so as I mentioned to you when we chatted earlier, so I've been to Pakistan and I've spent time in India and some amazing countries in that area. And I was so used to being in the home where quite a few family members also lived, be it on different levels of the building. So that connectedness, how does that help your well-being, the fact that is so important for you?
Yeah, you have really picked a very good thing from Pakistan, is that there's a lot of joint family systems, or paternal side or maternal uncle, aunts or grandmothers are living together in the same house. So, and obviously, you know that when the wisdom passed from the elderly to the second or third generations, they will give you tips and tricks that they had acquired in their life. So that's one of the things I don't know, because I think in Australia, I've noticed that people realize that after a certain age, we are moving out. We are not living with our parents and we're going to visit them. But unlike ours, that we know that, that's the basic lifestyle that you have. And if you get married, then you're moving with your in-laws and they become part of it. Most of them, not all of them, but majority of them, they live together. So once they have their families, they have their connections going, the women who work especially, they leave their children not with the, daycare, with their mother-in-law or their mothers or family members. So they have been nurtured in that environment rather than an outside person. You know that when you come back, maybe you will have a cooked food at the home. You don't have to come and running and cook the food. So now we go anywhere, we work, and we know that what's going to be on the table. So that's the thought that's really, But I think all that learning that you learn from the elderly, it's if you take on the positive stride, you learn a lot, and they give you a lot of support emotionally, a lot of emotionally, because when you have supposedly, if you think that the woman gives birth, so that the baby blues that you have and the mental emotion that you have, that can be supported by somebody can look after your child, and you can take care of yourself. They will give you look after your diet. If you are stuck in your family personal relationships, and that's how some of the relationships have been saved, is because probably a mother or mother-in-law has got inside, or father-in-law, they interfered, and then that has helped a family to stay intact and move on rather than splitting the families. So, but all the things have the flip side to it, and there have been some flip things, but I think the positive side to it is that you get that support all around.
Yeah. So the fact that now you've experienced both, or unless in your journeys, have you lived in another, somewhere else prior to coming to Australia?
As I traveled before, like moving to Australia, but as a settle, this is my first, I moved to New South Wales in Wollongong because my husband was working there. So, and that was when I moved. So it was Wollongong. If you have been to that place, it's a beautiful place, full of life and everything. And then moving to the countryside, Victoria, so it was a different experience for me altogether. But
so tell me then, because there is that flip side of the changing culture, what have you been able to extract from your original home to here living in Gippsland, what would have been the best piece to take with you and you know, recreate in your new home, as in be it well-being or just lifestyle?
I think few things I think as a person, we always learn and acquire things that what we should introduce in our lives and introduce in our household. But one of the things that I see which is common around is that the way we try to connect with people, the way we try to appreciate people, the problems that we understand that as a human beings, all our problems are more or less the same. Obviously, with culturally, there might be some differences, but we all want the well-being of our family, our loved ones, and I don't know how much we look at ourselves, individuals, like what is my well-being? As Cynthia is really a strong advocate, I know, of self-care. How much do we do that? And mostly in our cultures, one of the things that I feel has been a missing link is that the self-care portion is not there too much. So you are basically looking after your family, your children, your far side of the family or your husband's side of the family, and trying to please people. So in that pleasing people and making people happy, you ignore yourself.
Yeah.
So that is, I think, one of the the flip side on that side. But once you start learning that if you are happy inside, if you're content inside, you can make others happy much more better way. And that is one of the, I think as a growing, it was a good learning for me too, that self-realization of the fact that if I'm not happy, if I'm not content, I can't make other people happy. I can't make people who have expectation of me, not in my family also, even in the community where we work and we live, I can't make people satisfied.
So then what makes you happy? Arfa, what makes you happy?
To make others happy.
Tell us about what you do, the great
the things that I do.
Work you do.
Yeah. I don't know how much it is in me, but there's a I think a scholar with Tori Morrison, her name is, and she said that we train our students with the wisdom to join a certain jobs, to go to do certain things in their life, and they have been trained. So once you get that training in life, then what your job is, if you're free, we need to make others free. If you're happy, we need to make others happy. And if we are empowered, make others empower. So the cycle, the continuation of that thing, I think is the most satisfaction for me. I might see myself at some points that, yes, I need to improve myself. I'm weak, I can do this. So I have this thing in me that my well-being is also that, yes, I take care of myself, but I take care of my internal soul by learning new things, taking from people the good things, and then how can I absorb it into myself and pass it to others.
And do you, in doing that, do you pick up your energy from other people? Because if that's your passion, is that where you find your energy?
I think I am a people's person, basically. As much as I'm a people's person, I feel that I would not share my internal things. I'm introvert. I would not ask and share my personal stuff with everyone. I can listen to people. I can comfort them. But yes, I will have few people around that probably I can talk and express myself openly. But yes, the taking energy is really very normal. Negative energy will transmit into negativity. Positive will transmit into positivity. And it's vice versa. Whatever attributes that you put into it, it will transmit. So I believe that when people, whenever we talk to someone, we should go with the open mind to talk to someone. You never know what they are going through. Their mental state could be in any position because maybe we don't know what's going. So go with a smiling face and see what it takes you to the next level. And you know that when somebody's going through a crisis or somebody's going through bad times, it will show by the way they talk. So probably learning people and talking to people, I think, gives you that kind of understanding that what people are really up to.
And what are you hearing in your community? How are people coping? Are you hearing, is it positive talk and energy coming to you, or you're hearing more negative talk and energy coming to you?
Mixed bag of stuff, mixed bag. Initially, people thought that with this current pandemic that it's here for a little while and it's going to go away. And then now, excuse me, unfortunately, the timing has been such that like in the Muslim community, the month of Ramadan, where we really connect with each other a lot. We do a lot of iftar parties, dinners, people meeting each other. That didn't happen. Like Easter, nobody could meet anyone. So in the Eid celebration, nobody could meet, you know, there could be hardly one families or two families that they met. I think we were really good in this part of Israel, that people were really, really good, not meeting and interacting unnecessarily. But now it's because the whole dynamics has changed, is that the children were at home, men were working from home, or women were working from home, and everyone was on top of each other. Mm-hmm. So that everything gets on to you, and then you probably, people, I think some of the ladies I've heard that, and I talked to them, they were really overwhelmed with the situation. But then you just say that I'm in the same shoe, I'm facing the same thing, let's do this. Why don't you just break your day and go for a walk? So give those kind of tips and share with them these things that what we do. That's how I think I'm trying to console people, that we all are in the same boat.
We're all in the same boat. So that's good advice. Even just, you know, get out and go for a walk, because, you know, we're all in the same situation. What other advice then do you give to your community of women that you work with?
We are, I think, very fortunate in one way that the group of women that we work together as a committee and as a group, and one of them is also here, Khatija, and there are a few other ladies. Cynthia has also met Jumna and Sayyida, and the other, a few Hina is there, and Sarish. They all are very dynamic ladies in their own spheres. They are more energetic. They bring energy to the room, and I think most of us, they have been, as all committees, I would not say we are the best of the best. We all have their ups and downs, but it's just that we all are very understanding and accommodating of each other. And I think that is one of the asset that we help each other how to grow as a community. And if we hear of anyone's problem in the community and the committee, respect each other's privacy to the utmost. And then we try to help people in our way we can. It could be guiding them to the right path, like these are the area that you need to go, these are the people that you need to approach, these are the groups that you need to join. Wherever we can, we just try to, you know, tell people to get out of their shell and meet people and interact with each other. So, and that's, I think, because of as most of the human being, we all are social, because we are social animals, we want interactions. We need that connection of listening and sharing our stories with each other. Yeah.
Hey, Cynthia, just tell me, what's the connection like in our chat room? What's the comment?
Heaps of
we're talking about.
Heaps of comments and questions. So Estelle asks, Arfa, do you ever have low energy days, and how do you get yourself back on track?
All right. Do you want to answer this?
Yep. Do you have any low energy?
Oh, definitely. We all have those days, and we have the moments that come in, and sometimes they come very frequently, and sometimes they just take their way. I think one of the things that I've just noticed, like when I have my lows, and if I can't express it, I don't know how to express it. Probably one thing I do is just I'll go for a walk and self-talk and just thinking what I've done right and wrong. How could have done it? So probably talking to yourself is also one good thing that, you know, you can, looking at the nature, take out your negativity outside and bring the best what you can. So just to bring back to that moment, I think going out is a really good thing. That's one of the things that I do. Secondly, I am very, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a religious person in heart. So I believe and I do pray. So that is one of the way of good meditation for me, just praying and connecting. And from that, you know, taking that deep breaths and those exercises that probably breathing that brings you back to the energy and, you know, get yourself going.
pray, do you just pray anywhere, or do you stop and sit somewhere in particular to pray?
See, one prayer is that the call of prayers that we have as a Muslims, we pray. So we have to have in a certain direction. And the area has to be clean. Like as you would pray in a church, it has clean, it's whatever. But you can pray in your houses, in the rooms and offices, wherever you are. I've done the courses, I've gone to some workplaces. If I had to pray, I would just excuse myself, go out and pray in the corner. And but supposedly, if you think that you are low or you don't have the thing, you can just quietly sit down in a corner and just, read to yourself something. And that gives back, you're just connecting to yourself and to your God spiritual being. And that really clears yourself up. And that's, after a few minutes of just sitting with yourself and talking and probably you feel that you're sharing something. That's my personal thing. It's not probably with everyone. When I speak with God and whatever the worries are, and the way you speak it out and then I feel that I'm really relaxed. I just don't need anyone else to share as such. And that's one of my way of taking things and negative energy from me.
Right. So back to you, Cynthia. So that was the last question. That was great.
I love that, Arfa. It's like giving your burden to God.
Yeah.
Releasing your burden to God. To God.
Yeah.
I get that. Now, Claire, hello, lovely Claire, from Sunshine Coast. So an
interstater.
Claire, we were just saying most people are Victorians. We think we're the pariahs. So thanks for joining us. Claire says, I'd love to know Arfa's thoughts on whether the wellbeing self-care that Australians practice is more or less effective than other cultures you've experienced. Do we get it right, wrong, or somewhere in between?
A very good question. I would be able to answer this if you would ask me this question a few years before. I think I would have been like, I don't know, maybe the same, something like that. But over the years that I have been into different programs, different sessions, interacting a lot with people, I've realized that one of the things that we're Australian culture, people that I've seen missing is that they don't express themselves when they're sad, they're happy. The sadness is with them. Like if somebody dies, somebody's sick in the family, they think that in the office we don't need to express it. And it has to be shared with the people that they're really concerned, like my sisters, my brother. It's a family thing. And in our culture, it is shared, it's expressed openly. So that, what I'm trying to say, that energy, that thing in you, it goes out. The negativity goes out, the stress level in your body. When you share with others, it releases. And it's not that you're sad because of something has happened wrong. Your loved one is affected. I'll give you the example. I lost my father when I was in Australia, 6 years now. So luckily I was in Pakistan during that holidays. And that year, I don't know what happened. My father just realized maybe he wasn't that well. He asked all his children to come that year. So we all were there and we had a really close connection with the family. So we were there and then I came, his birthday was on 6th of February. And while my husband, we were booking the tickets and I said, all right, 6th is his birthday, I'll fly back on 7th of February. The girls were little, I said, well, I'll fly back. So when he got sicker, but he knew that I had to go back home and so he was fine. But then after about a month and a half, 31st of March, he passed away. So, but I found out on 29th of March that that's almost the end of the time. Because my other siblings were flying from different parts and they called me and they said, we're going. So we just wanted to let you know. So I flew back and now, obviously, at that point, I didn't have anyone to share my grief with. That, oh my God, somebody important in your life is going, who do I share with? Who do I call? And my family was already in stress. So that connection was missing at that point. Obviously, your husband, he was at work. So, you don't want to call him middle of his work. And, so anyway, I told when he came back and I told him that I'm going. Now, these are the things that just, builds up. You're not talking to anyone. You're trying to find ways that what do I do and how do I put my things together. So I flew back and then being there with the family, talking to people, I just realized that the level of grief was different. If I would have been here, not to share my experience with anyone, I don't know where would I be, because, when you lose the important people in your life, nobody can replace your parents. Parents are the most important. And then obviously, whatever your husband, your siblings, your children, whatever they come in your life. But the important element of your life is your parents. And so you know that he's going. And the day I reached, I think the same night he passed away. But being there and, being close to my mother, my sisters and everyone, being there for the family was really important. So I feel that connection is there. I'm not saying that people are not there, they don't do it the same, but they don't express the same. It needs to be spoken out. It needs to be verbalized.
Yeah. And I would say that that's just not just through grief. We have this literacy imbalance. We don't know how to express ourselves enough here in Australia. It's either good or bad, rather than a range of goods or a range of sadness. We don't have the words. And we don't learn about that at school. Well, I suppose we didn't at our age, but our kids are now. Are there other questions there, Cynthia, for Arfa?
That's a lot of love for Arfa, and a lot of comments about what you were saying about spirituality that resonated with a lot of people.
Because we really haven't talked about that, Cynthia, have we? Spirituality, it hasn't really come up in conversation.
And yet it's such an important element for many of us for our well-being. So thank you, Arfa, for reminding us of that. And then we had from Den, just back a little bit. Den, that this was in our conversation a bit earlier on, that she loved hearing that making people happy makes you happy. Have you always been like that, or was there a moment in time that led you on that journey?
Great question.
That's a good question, Dan. I never even thought about it. But I think I think the realization that what makes you happy comes probably now as we're getting older in life, and we realize that makes us happy. But I think it's always with all of us that when we see our loved ones being happy, we are always happy. But I think to pinpoint that what makes me happy now is because I think I'm at that age now that I can say that this makes me happy. But I think it is one of the traits that we all have it, but some of us nurture it more and take it one of our personality traits, and some just leave it, if everybody's happy is happy. If not, what do I do with it? I don't care. So that attitude has, I think it has been with me since so long I know. But I think I've nurtured it to be like that.
So, Louise, just to keep you on track with the time, because I am so diligent around that area, we are at 1:31. We're concluding at 1:45 today officially. So maybe another 10 minutes of conversation, or 9 actually to be precise. And then we'll hand over in the last bit for after top 3 tips. But I've got actually another question, another comment from Marianne. So she's just sharing that a close friend who lives in the US recently lost her husband, and she's been sharing her feelings and live video of the week of nightly prayers, which has been so helpful for dealing with my own sadness, as well as understanding how she's been feeling and coping, and knowing that she's surrounded by love at such a sad time. And Marianne asks, do you find online connections have become more important, particularly with the COVID restrictions, making it impossible to visit friends and family in person?
I think it's very important when people can't interact with others. See, like people who have family overseas, we already connect with online connections. That's what we are doing. I talk with my mother, FaceTime, whatever different mediums that we have, WhatsApp call and whatever. So we have been doing that in online connections with our family. But I just imagine that in sitting in these circumstances, when you can't meet your family, you can't meet your friend, at least, when you can see them on screen and you know that they're happy, they're fine, and, everything, if there's something bad, they're going to share with you. So I think it's really, really important. And it's not with us. I think it's with all genders, all age group. It has been a really good thing.
I'm curious, the fact that you're home, and you mentioned earlier before everyone joined us that you're having to move all your gear to move your office, which is probably a good practice, so you shut down your office. and, you know, there's no office to walk to. How do your family describe you, Arfa? How do they describe you, whether that be your character, or how do they describe your well-being?
If you ask, I think my husband, that's what I'm thinking, what he would say, that I don't take care of myself as I should. My Cynthia and you have met my little girls, and they are really, because last year somehow I built some back pain, so I can't really do too much of exercise and walk, so I get myself stuck sometimes. So it's so sweet. If I could just show you, they've made a diet plan for me.
Oh, go on.
And I'll just bring it on, and it's put on the kitchen door, and it says that these are the things you're not going to eat. These are the things you're going to eat. And they're just 9 and 7. So don't do this, don't do that. And coming from, children as that, it can tell that, mom is not doing something right. So, look after yourself, and then you're going to walk for this long. And then at times they would check with me, how long did you walk for today? And I was like, whoa. And I would say, I did half an hour. No, I couldn't walk much because I had a pain. So I have to, and I'm being really honest with them with these kind of things. That, and that's what one of my sisters says, that I said, I have to be honest with them because I want them to have that honesty in them too. So tell them honestly, yes, I ate this, but I ate little. I didn't do this. So they are a good check on me.
Have they learned that from you, Arfa, or is that through the education system, do you think, that they've thought to build that diagram for you for your fridge?
I think the diagram would be the school, definitely. But I've been really conscious because I do a lot of home cooking, and I'm really I don't do 10 fruits too much or whatever. So very less food from outside. And one of the reasons is basically I don't like it. And secondly, we don't get a lot of halal food that we eat. So it stacks me back. Even if I'm tired, exhausted, whatever, I need to know what is in my fridge and what can I make for them. So if it's cakes, it's cookies, pizzas, if it's junk food or to the healthy food, soups or whatever, I'm making for them. Mm-hmm. So they know what's good and bad, and they can even tell now. So we are doing this, we are eating this, so they know. So I think partially, it's a mixed blend of both. That's the school and obviously the home training that we have, what we eat.
And what is for dinner tonight then? Because we did have a recipe a few weeks ago. I'm not asking for a recipe, but so if you follow a halal diet, which I don't know enough about, what would be a typical meal for you?
Sorry, I missed what you said. Was just cutting.
What would be a typical halal meal that you would have for dinner?
Halal, is basically the halal is the meat that has been slaughtered by a certain way. So like we eat all meat except pork. We are not allowed to have pork at all. No alcohol, wines. Like religiously, we're not allowed to do that. And people who drink or do, that's their own personal choice. And the meat which has to be slaughtered, like cow, goats, lamb, chicken, they have to be slaughtered in a halal way, so we can eat that. So most of the shops, the cafes don't cater to that. And the byproducts of all the animal byproducts we can't have. If it has to be vegetable-based gums, gelatins, which we can eat. Oh, so yeah, so like the cheesecake, which if you enjoy, you just can't get in the shop because most of them are gelatin and you don't know what gelatin that's been dried from. So unless you ask them, and like one of few of the cafe people that I've been lucky, and I don't go and eat so much, but even then I just told them that I can't eat it. So she replaced it with the vegetable gel. And she just said that I'm not going to lose any customer on this one because I'll be putting gelatin in anyways. So it says that, I'll get an extra customer with that. So why not?
That's great.
Yeah.
Cynthia, how are we tracking there? Actually, how about I ask you now, Arfa, your top 3 wellbeing tips to leave with us? We ask every guest every week, and we're hoping that we might practice them.
Yes, I think I've picked few and they're a really good one, I'm telling you. And one of the things that I've picked from everyone in a nutshell is that being resilient, in whatever adversity that comes your way, be resilient and things will, come your way, and keeping that positivity. My thing three, which I really believe in, is connection with self, with others, and with God, if you believe in it or whatever. So that spirituality factor, whatever people want to practice, the way they practice, like we as Muslims, we do 5 times a day. Even people who don't believe it and they can do once a day, any type of spirituality practice with. So going to the nature, do meditation, whatever, that is a really good tip that I feel is a good one. I keep learning in life, never stop. It keeps us growing, for our well-being, it's very important. I told you a few years back, I wouldn't have made a good comparison between cultures and everything, but living experience gives you a lot of more learning. So in talking to people, so that's, and then take notice of things around, appreciate them, be empathetic to people. So take notice of things, that's really important in life.
That's great. Thank you. And Cynthia, the last few minutes, questions from our group.
Well, I actually had a question, Arfa, and you do so much volunteering. That's a huge part of your life. And we have touched on that briefly in previous sessions about, how that adds to well-being. So I just wondered if you had a comment about that, volunteering and...
I think it's volunteering, as I think Cynthia and I've talked about it a few times, but I just think that volunteering, it's a really good way of connecting yourself with the people, with the community. And for anyone, I think living in a new environment, new settings, if you can, they can put themselves together with the thing that they really love. They're close to their heart. I think they should keep themselves connected. It could be the sports club, it could be any club that they would, a gardening club or whatever. It will bring them to close to the people. So they will learn in that environment, they will grow in that environment, and then it will keep them, motivated and energetic. So that's really very good.
Yeah. True. So just to we've got 4 more minutes. I just want to hold 4 minutes. We've got next week on Wellbeing Wednesday, we have a guest who's making a reappearance for episode 18, and that is Dr. Paige Williams. So a number of you would be familiar with Paige. She's from Geelong. She's a psychologist. She is a fantastic human being, but she's also written a book, and it's called Anti-Fragile. And in it, she has a number of lessons for us that I think will be particularly relevant right now for we Victorians, and maybe even some New South Wales people who are starting to get up there. So we're really looking forward to hearing from Paige next week. For those who are new, now that we're embracing you into our network, so you're on our mailing list, and you will receive every Friday a little summary of Arfa's, our speakers' top tips, but you'll also get a link letting you know what is coming up for next week and that you can register. So if you don't want to get that, if you've just come along to listen to fantastic Arfa, just unsubscribe. But if you just want to keep connected and keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening, then keep getting that newsletter. Now, Nosh has just reminded me, thanks Nosh, picture time. So we will get and Nosh says, don't unsubscribe. Great.
He's right, don't unsubscribe, it's a good learning.
So what we're just going to do is get a quick picture. So I'm sure Nosh is going to take one, but I will also take one. So if we can, the 3 of us look at the screen and smile. 1, 2, 3. Great, hopefully that worked. Now, Arfa, are there any other thoughts that you wanted to cover that you haven't had the opportunity to yet?
I think one of the things that I was probably would just say that it was coming into my mind about the well-being thing is that we need to have the strength and courage, I think, to ask for help if we need it. And I think that is one of the things that's really important for well-being sessions and for everything that you are doing, and people, we know it, that and there's no question, I think, in the world which we say it's a bad question or so it says that I know people struggle who to talk to and, who's the right person to talk to. We all struggle, I think, in nervous ways. And so I think it's just that maybe the people who you can confine on a little bit, I think, have that courage to speak to them. It could be, and they could be, maybe talking to them can help you a lot, or maybe, for their guidance. And I feel that I've been with the community a lot and community people, and I think people have that reluctance in them. People do have it, and it's very natural, I feel. It's not a cultural thing. I think it's everywhere in the world. People have that thing. So we need to all come out of that thing, and we need to have that courage of asking. If you never know, asking can help a lot.
Quick final question. Have I got time, Cynthia?
You have 1 minute.
Ooh. So sometimes we ask the question around what are you grateful for, Arfa? We've got a bit of a well-being. We've got a question for every letter. We don't ask them all. So the final question normally is for the G. What are you grateful for?
What I'm thankful for? I live by day. I don't plan really too much. And I've got a little small plans. All right, fine, I'll do this. I'm doing this now and whatever. I live by a day and for the days as coming days. So I just appreciate the way I'm living, and I'm thankful for all the things that I have in my life. And the things I don't have in life, there must be a reason. They will come one day. But I'm happy with whatever I have. And I think the contentment in me is I'm really happy that I have that contentment in me, that whatever I have, I'm happy for that.
What a great way to end, contentment.
Absolutely.
Really, that's so important.
Thank you, Arfa. Nosh has said in capital letters, Arfa, we need more humans like you.
Thank you,
Nosh.
Totally wants to connect with you. So, Nosh, Arfa's on LinkedIn. So if anyone wants to connect with anyone, I'd encourage you to do it via LinkedIn. And Louise says, I'd love just ask. It's something that I'm working on. I know sometimes it's really hard to ask for help, but it's a gift to others to enable them to help as well. I
remember, if I have time to just say, I remember there's one time that I just reached out to Cynthia, and this you never know that you feel that connection and that, fine. And that probably that speaking and sharing that moment really helps you, fixes you mentally, emotionally. And it's really important, I feel.
Yep. Thanks, Arfa.
Thank
yeah, everyone's saying great session, and Estelle said, brilliant session, love Arfa's approach, self-care comes out the other end as community care. Yeah, that's terrific. So that's a great note to leave it on. We're going to hang around just for probably the next 15 minutes. We'll press stop now. I'm just going to stop recording. Thanks, Arfa, and hope everyone
you, everyone.
the page.